everyone, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and today I'm going to do a simple kind of collar necklace for you using the multi-hold beads that we have, the RounTrio bead, which is a 6mm round bead with multiple holes. It has 3 holes. We're actually only going to be using 2 for this Cambridge necklace, as I'm calling it. So for the necklace, you can really use a variety of products. The main staple is going to be the RounTrio beads here at the top, and then you can kind of play around with what you hang down from the bottom. If you need any of the materials to do this Cambridge necklace, you can go up to the little eye. If you take your mouse over the video, there's information from us as the video supplier to have you guys, or to give you guys some information about the materials that are used in the project. Or below the video where it has the date that the video was produced, you can check that out, press the down arrow, kind of show more, and that'll give you information to all the different materials that are used in the Cambridge necklace as well. So being that it's getting kind of warmer out and summer out, the popularity of kind of the shorter choker collar necklaces is increasing, and I thought I'd go kind of with the trend and start one of those as well. So for the Cambridge necklace, we are going to be using, like I said, the RounTrio bead. We sell them in packs of 50, which is about what you're going to need if you want to make an 18-inch or so necklace. If you want to make a 16-inch, couple less, you're going to use about 4 beads per inch of the necklace. So that'll kind of give you an idea that you're using about 4 beads per inch of the necklace. So depending on how many inches you want to do, just times it by 4. I'm sorry, 3 rather than 4. I'm all right, 3 beads rather than 4. When you're using the RounTrios, in addition to that, I have kind of the spectrum of seed beads. So we have the 15-0, an 11-0, and an 8-0 seed bead. I've chosen to use all the Miyuki brand seed bead, and I'm going with a metallic theme and just bringing out kind of a brighter purple color. For the RounTrios, I'm using the aluminum silver color, and that's also what I'm going to use as my accent bead at the bottom. The accent bead at the bottom is a spiky button bead, so it might be a bead that you're not familiar with. I also contemplated using a flower cup and going with a more subtle kind of summery look, but I decided I wanted to go bold, and either a teardrop or the spiky button is going to be my bead of choice for my drop down here. And like I said, the cool thing is you can really change up what you drop down, which is going to make the necklace all your own. And you can change up the design, post pictures of it for us, and check it out and kind of use it as a platform or a springboard to design your own. So with the aluminum silver in both the spiky button as well as the RounTrio, I'm going to bring in some gold to keep it that mixed metal color. I'm using a 15-0 seed bead in the Duracoat Galvanized champagne color. And then I'm using the 11-0 in this silver lined opal color. That's going to be a nice kind of in-between color between that gold and silver. Even though it's a silver lined, it gives a little bit of that pop of gold to it as well. And then I do want to bring some color into the design. So like I said, I'm going with this purple, and it's a silver lined amethyst AB in the 8-0 seed bead. The 8-0 seed bead is going to take the place here of that silver lined dark topaz AB, which is kind of that pinker or redder tone to it. And then the 11-0 is going to be that more subtle silver as well, because I want the necklace to mainly be that silver kind of bright summery color. In addition to that, I have a cup button here, which I'll use for the clasp. You can use a cup button, you can use a lobster clasp, a push clasp, it's kind of up to you. If you are going with a metal clasp, I would suggest using a wire guard or a wire protector in addition to your clasp at the end. So if you do want to do one of those, grab 2 wire guards, 1 for each end, and have those ready with your clasp as well. I'm going to be stringing the whole thing on 0.006 wildfire beading thread, and I am using the green color. The green color, I'm not going to be able to see it all between or inside my beads, and I went back with white and green and kind of which one to use, but I use the green 95% of the time. Because it is a collar and a necklace, you're going to need a fair amount of thread. You're looking at about 15 feet of your beading thread. In addition to that, you want a needle. I have a size 12 needle sitting here. You can use a size 10 or 12 or 11. Any of those will do. Because I do work with the needles and the thread, I like to have a thread zap or a thread burner handy. And that's going to be used to burn the thread off the spool. as well as to burn the thread ends down as you connect and kind of get further along into your necklace and have points where you've had to add thread. Because I use the threads up, I also like to have a pliers handy. Use that to kind of flatten out the end of the thread, and that makes it easier to thread my needles when I go to put the needle actually on the project and on the thread. To get started with the design, we're going to start at the neckline and at the very top. So you're going to need a pile of your round trios and then all of your seed beads. Whatever you want to hang down from the bottom, either the spiky button or, excuse me, I've contemplated a teardrop, a flower cup, even just a check glass bead, kind of contemplated all those different ones. Whatever you're going to do, that can kind of sit off to the side because we're not going to come back and add those until our actual fourth pass along our necklace. So go ahead and get 5 feet of your beading thread on your needle and make little piles of all of your seed beads to get ready to start the Cambridge necklace. So to get started, the first thing that I'm going to do is put a stop bead on my project. We'll come back and forth the project multiple times as we add in our different layers of our necklace. So I'll be adding the cup button and the loop for the cup button further along in the necklace. So for now, we're going to add a stop bead. If you're unfamiliar with a stop bead, it is a bead that will eventually come off the project that is not used in the project, so that way you don't get confused. And you can see I'm taking the needle through the bead two times, which is going to expose thread on the side of the bead 2 times. This bead again is going to come off the project and not be included, and I'm leaving about a 2-inch tail, just enough to kind of hold on to and tie a knot to as I get started, or as I finish off the project at the very end. To get started with the project, we are going to be starting with our very simple steps of increasing and then decreasing our seed bead. So we have a 15, 11, 8, 11, 15. That pattern is going to be the same between every single one of our round trio beads. To get started, again, I'm going to start with that pattern. 15, 11, 8, 11, 15. I let those drop down next to my stop bead, and then I'm going to get ready to add a round trio bead. The round trios, like I said, they have 3 holes. We're only going to be using one of the outer holes at the start to go along the actual top of the necklace. After you put on a round trio bead through one of the holes, you're going to repeat the seed bead progression again. 15, 11, 8, 11, 15. And let that drop down next to the round trio. It continues the whole length of the necklace where you're building constantly onto the length by adding that grouping of seed beads followed by the round trio. So you're just going to continue adding on that same pattern the whole way along the necklace. If you don't want the necklace to be the collar kind of look the whole way around, you can start off with a bunch of your 11 O's, about 2 inches of 11 O's if you want, and you don't have to have then the beads right to the back. I like when I do collars to have the pattern be the exact same kind of the whole way around, so that way when it's on your neck it actually looks complete if you want to wear your hair up or you have the back of your neck exposed. So go ahead and do the length of your project, adding in the round trios and all the seed beads in between. So if you want it 16 inches, do 16 inches now, 18, do 18 inches now, and so on. So I have about 16 inches here that I've done, and you can see the nice kind of warm purple between the aluminum silver. And for the ending and for adding the clasp, I'm doing the exact same thing and the exact same pattern that I started with. So this is why I love this necklace. Super simple. I have 35 of my round trio beads on to get my 16 inches, and I've ended with my same seed bead rotation that I started with. So it's the same thing that I started with, the 15, the 11, the 8, the 11, the 15. From here, I have my Pastel Bordeux cup button, And I'm going to go up the back of the cup button till it comes out the front. From there, when I'm out the front of the cup button, I'm going to add my 15, 11, 8, 11, 15. So you can see, very simple, just like we've been doing. From there, my thread and needle is going to come down the back of the cup button and out the other side. From here, I'm going to start an X pattern. The X pattern is going to connect the first hole with the third hole of the round trios and go through the 8/0 seed bead. So the pattern on the top of the cup button is the same as the pattern between the round trio beads. And now I'm going to start my X pattern right after my button and go right into the round trio beads. To start the X pattern, we are going to add a 15 and 11, and then you're going to sew back towards the stop bead through the 8/0 seed bead. Give a nice pull to make sure that you get all the extra thread that may be kind of hiding in there pulled nice and tight. I also forgot to mention at this point we are done with the round trios, so you can stick those away. Coming out the 8/0 seed bead, then add an 11 and a 15, and you're going to jump to the third hole of the round trio bead. What this is going to do is create that little Xing effect. From here, it's very simple. Coming out the round trio, add a 15 and an 11. So through the 8, so you're sharing the 8/0 seed bead, and then an 11 and a 15, and grab the third hole of the round trio. This same X pattern is going to be done the whole length of the necklace. So just like we went in previously and added in all of these seed beads, we're doing the same thing going backwards, except instead of adding an 8/0, we're sharing the 8/0 that is already there and that we already put on the last pass. After the 8/0, we add the 11 and the 15, and we sew through the third hole of the round trio bead. So it's kind of creating that X and O pattern right along the round trio. From here, continue the whole way along the necklace, adding in those extra 15s and 11s to get that nice X pattern for the whole top baseline of that Cambridge necklace. As you get to the end of making your X's, what we're going to do is actually make our loop for our button on the other end to sit inside of. I'm going to repeat the same pattern of beads that I do at the start with the 11s and the 15s with the 8 in the middle. Let that drop down next to the round trio that I'm coming out of, that last hole. And now what I'm going to do is make my loop for my button. You can choose what size beads you want to do this with. I'm going to do it with my 11/0 seed beads and get about 20 of those on there. And we'll see about how big that loop is. If you have a clasp that you want to use, like I had said at the very beginning, you want to get your wire guard out and add the clasp now. So I'm going to go ahead and make my loop here. And once my loop is made, I want to make sure that it is big enough for the cup button to sit through. And then I'm going to take my thread and needle down through those first groupings of seed beads that I put on right next to the stop bead. What that's going to do is create that loop for my button to sit inside. From here, I'm going to get ready to actually add on to the bottom of the round trio and add on some more 11s, 15s, and 8s. To get to the bottom, what I want to do is go through the round trio bead, through that first hole there at the top. I'm going to go through the last hole of the round trio and reinforce my clasp, pulling nice and tight. once I'm through the entire loop, my thread and needle are going to again go through that first hole of the round trio bead and come out. Then what I'm going to do is go through the center hole of the round trio bead that we haven't been using at all. And then I'm going to go through the third hole of the round trio, which is going to bring me out right along the round trio here, right along that base line. From there, I'm going to get ready to actually add in some more seed beads between the round trios. With this pass, we're going to be adding in 1 15, 2 11s, and 1 8, and then degressing to the 11s and the 15. So coming out of the round trio, again, we're going to add 1 15, 2 11s, an 8, 2 11s, and a 15. And you're going to proceed from one round trio to the next. This is going to make a little loop almost that hangs right below the round trio. This is also what's going to start giving it its shape, so that way it has that scallop shape like a collar should. So again, coming out the round trio now, 15, 2 11s, 8, 2 11s, 15. So the pattern's the same, it's just adding one more 11-0. And you make your little scallop. So you're going to continue doing this the whole way along the baseline of the round trios. You can usually tell with a round trio exactly where the top hole was, and kind of it almost looks like a bow or a ribbon coming down. So you want to make sure that you go into the correct hole of the round trio and that the necklace is not twisted. As we proceed then, those little loops will kind of hang down and start that curvature. So you're going to continue linking your round trios with 1 15, 2 11s, an 8, 2 11s, and a 15, and go the whole way along our baseline of our necklace and create that nice scalloping effect. As I'm reaching the end of my little loops here, I'm going to go into the cup button and reinforce this clasp. I only really have one strand through here right now, so I want to make sure to get a second. When I reinforce, I want to make sure to go back through the entire cup button and the entire seed beads that I put on top of the cup button as well. To do so, you want to make sure when you are stringing through the cup button, if you're using one, that you attach or kind of pick up with your needle that 15-0 right when you go through the seed bead. Or I'm sorry, right when you go through the button rather. Coming out then, we are going to get ready to attach basically to our loops. So you want to get out your spiky buttons or your crystals or whatever you want to add on to the bottom there. And that's also, going to give it weight and kind of pull those loops down even further as you're working with them. You can see this is a really pretty also kind of necklace for weddings too. So to give you guys ideas. When you're going through and after you reinforce the cup button, you're through the 8-0 seed bead here again, and you want to come down towards the bottom line of the round trio bead. What I mean is you want to come down through the hole of the round trio that's closest to the loop section. I'm going to go through the bottom hole of the last round trio and come out the other side. When you're out the other side, it's time now to pick up these little loops and add in some seed beads. So to pick up the loops and add in the seed beads, we're going to sew through the 15, 2 11s, an 8, and an 11-0 seed bead. From now on, we're always going to sew through the middle 11, 8, and 11 of all of our little scallops. From there, we're going to hang down our spiky button. To hang down the spiky button, our pattern pretty much remains the same with going from smaller bead to larger bead. So our pattern now is going to be 15, 11, 8, and then add our biggest bead, which is our spiky button, and then degrass to 8, 11, and 15. That's going to hang right below our round trio. To connect it and to make it hang, I want to sew through the next scallop piece through just the middle 11, 8, 11. You can see then that that spiky button's just going to hang there. Again, coming out then the 11, 8, 11 from the previous scallop, add 15, 11, 8, then one of your spiky buttons, and then 8, 11, 15. Sew through the next scallop through the middle 11, 8, 11. And that gets our next little drop right on there. You can see how I was saying you really can use anything that you're working with. If you wanted to use flower cups to make it a little bit more springish, you could use crystals to really make it pop. You can do pearls if you want to do it more of that wedding design. But you're just going to continue on the whole rest of the design, adding in the spiky buttons with the seed beads on the side. If you want a more modern look as you get to the center, you may want to pick up some dagger beads or spike beads to give a more pronounced middle and have a bigger middle. I'm going to continue with the Cambridge necklace here, just going in and adding in my 15, 11, 8, spiky button, 8, 11, 15, and then sewing through the middle 11, 8, 11 of each of my scallops as I work down the neckline. I'm to the point now where I am adding in my last of my spiky buttons, and it's really hard to show necklaces kind of in their full frame on the video here. So I kind of laid it out in a spiral just for you to look at. But after you have your last beads on and you're going through the last set of your scallop here, I'm going to go through the 11, 8, 11, just like I did through all the others, but at the same time I'm going to go through the 15 and the round trio. That's going to pull in that last little spiky button there. I'm going to sew back through my whole loop closure. If you want to, you can do a peyote loop. That's kind of up to you. And go back and reinforcing the clasp. I'm going to come out the clasp here, right by the stop bead. Take off that initial stop bead, which sometimes you can do easily by pulling, sometimes you need a little bit of tension on it. I'm just going to slide that off. Take my 2 thread ends and tie a knot. Right over left and then left over right. And I don't want the knot to be so big that you can see it. If you want to, you can pick up some super glue glue and glue the ends of your thread. I'm going to take my thread zapper, my thread burner now, burn down the edges of that thread till I have just a little tiny bit of a tail that you can see there. From there, I'll go in with a thread burner and burn those thread ends down flush. What that does is balls up those thread ends so that way the knot is unable to come apart. From there, I'll go back to other sections where I had to add thread. Same thing, burn it down short, and then take my thread burner and burn them down flush next to the bead. You want to make sure as you are burning down thread ends that you are not burning through any of the actual knots that you have created or any of the thread. After you have those thread ends burned down and the ends all finished off, your Cambridge necklace is completed. So it's a great, fun, really simple, very fast necklace that you can really adapt to be exactly what you want it to be. So as I said in the beginning, you really can use kind of anything for the design, and that's the beauty of it, is that you can take any bead that you want and hang it down in place of the spiky button. The RounTrio and the multiple holes allows you to easily create and start this necklace and start that fun pattern here of getting that hang down and that nice, simple, easy, elegant look for summer of that nice, simple collar. Again, if you have any or if you need any of the materials, you can go to the little I in the top corner of the video. You can also go to the description below the video and hit that little show more button where the date is and get more information about the beads that are used here in the design. And also, if you like this video, you want to see new things, different ideas and different designs, different beads and different materials that we use, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. There you'll get regular updates when we put out new videos like this Cambridge necklace, as well as product updates and spotlights. You can also stay connected with us by visiting PotomacBeads.com. You can visit us on Facebook and check out our Instagram. You can also join us on Facebook for our closed beading group, which is for beading and jewelry making. It's a great, wonderful, interactive group of people that love the art, love to make jewelry, love to create, and are super, super helpful to give ideas, suggestion, and offer advice as well. As always, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Have fun if you get a chance creating this netted Cambridge necklace using the RounTrios and kind of making it your own. Thanks, everybody, and have fun.